Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US, which is 10 a.m. in Australia, 1 a.m. if you're in the UK. Remember, if you miss the live streams, you can catch up with the premiere event streams on a Friday and Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time in the US, which is 7 a.m. in Australia or 10 p.m. I believe if you're in the UK. I hope all you guys and girls are well. Smokeberry Barbecue, hello to you too. It's good to see you, buddy. I hope you're well. It's been a couple of weeks, guys. I've missed you. How are you all going? What you all been up to? I see that Sniper Girl's been working feverishly on that van of hers. It's looking very cool. It was a great idea about the light fitting Smurfberry, just varying the colour a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic. You're hot and you're tired. Oh no. Well, I'm cold and refreshed. So, did you end up doing your you were doing that workshop? Did that? I know you said that the numbers weren't there. Did they reorganise it? How did that go? Smurfberry says, I stayed up way too late last night watching that Falcon Heavy launch. Oh, you're talking about the SpaceX thing, aren't you? I didn't watch it, actually. I watched the one that was done about a month ago. I watched that on YouTube Live. It was pretty cool. Just going to grab a drink. But the one that they just launched, I heard, is supposed to be the most ambitious so far. Did it go well? I'm assuming it did. I didn't hear any news reports of anything disastrous happening. Smurfberry says, I got a discount for 4 weeks of one-on-one coaching. Oh, that's pretty cool. One-on-one coaching, that's the way to go. That's what I always found when I was doing university. The lecturers, because you have classes, some subjects, some classes would be like you could have 100 students in an auditorium. So the lecturers couldn't really devote too much time to one-on-one with people. So one-on-one is the best way to go. Smurfberry says, third call was this afternoon, last one next week. Oh, okay. Cool. Are you enjoying it? Hopefully you are. Smurfberry says, Falcon Heavy got all of its payload to orbit. One booster smashed into the ocean in a disappointing but hilarious way. Well, that's why we watch them, isn't it? It's to see the disasters happen. We don't watch them for a smooth launch. We want to see things crash. Smurfberry says the workshop is fun and also frustrating. Well, and challenging, hopefully. You don't want to be bored. Well, nothing worse than sitting through a lecture that's boring. But I'm glad to hear it's fun. I'm glad to hear it's going well. And you got a discount. That's it. That's even better. Smurfberry says, it's making me think hard things. Well, that's good. Thinking is for suckers. It's not for suckers. Just let me fix my eye here. Thinking is not for suckers. That's not right. Bad, Smurfberry, bad. I'm sure you're enjoying it. I'm sure it's fun. And I'm sure you're learning something, which is the important thing. Yes, I'm back from my break in cabin in the woods. Phil in the mountains, which was lovely. I love getting away every year, just in the middle of the year and like at the start of winter to recharge with no technology. I heard an interesting term the other day. What do they call it? Some sort of. It's got a name, which I never knew actually. I was watching an episode of what's it called on Netflix? Black Mirror, an episode of Black Mirror from season 5, the new season. And one of the tech guys who supposedly ran some social media company, aka like Facebook clone, took a tech retreat, I think they called it. I think it was a tech retreat, where he went up to the top of a mountain doing yoga with his eyes closed and no technology around. So apparently it's a thing, which I never knew. There you go. But I do it just so I can recharge because I get so tired sometimes from working. I really do. Bills, whinge. Not that I dislike my work. I love my work and I love what I do, but it can be very tiring. I've said to you guys before, being creative on demand is exhausting and hard. But you got to do it. So getting away and recharging is always a good idea, at least for me. Okay, so what are we doing? Just let me fix this over here. Yeah, sorry about yesterday, guys. I got called into a meeting in work. An unexpected meeting. Because you guys know that they've opened a second studio, and the meeting was regarding that. They want to make sure staff levels and stuff are corrected at the second studio. And we had to touch base on some client stuff and all that sort of boring work. So yes, my apologies. I was planning on coming back yesterday, but unexpectedly work called me and said, we want you to come in. We need you. Which is nice, I guess. And they put on a good lunch, so that's always good. Snapper says probably going to resume work on that blue plant soon. The guy who would benefit from using it is asking about it. Cool. Yes, that plant is looking very cool as well. Anyone that doesn't know, jump on the Discord server, the Phil Does 3D Discord server. You can click that little blue graphic in my panels below my stream if you want an invite link to join the server. Everybody is welcome. Everybody can post links to their work in the gallery section. Make sure you do it in the right subforum. There's a video tutorial section there as well as where you can promote your own work and ArtStation, all that sort of stuff, website, portfolio, whatever. So yeah, it'd be cool to get back to that blue plant because it was looking very cool. And yeah, if you want to see what Snowberry's blue plant looks like, jump on the Discord server and look in the gallery. We though are going to continue with the with our Temple of the Winds that we are making in 3D Studio Max. So let's just open up Max here. I'm actually wearing a new pair of glasses too, so tell me guys if the reflection is too bad, because this new pair don't have the anti-reflective coating that the other one did. I just thought I wanted a second pair in case I break the first ones, because if I break them I can't see the screen. I don't need to wear glasses when I'm just doing everything else, but just when I'm working on the computer I need the glasses, so I thought it probably a good idea to get a second pair. So yeah, let me know if it's too reflective and I'll see what I can do. Not much I can do, I'm afraid. Glasses being glasses. The Temple of the Winds, this is what we're working on. We're texturing it up in Substance Painter. We are probably going to take just one or two assets into Mari by the Foundry just to do an overpaint on. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm keen to get this model finished because I need to start working on the game again, the Hollow, the House in the Hollow. The UE4 game that we're making. I must start working on that because I have a soft deadline for a build. I've got to get a build sent through to NVIDIA. They've been asking for one, so I'm going to have to start pushing on that project a bit more. So Sniper Girl, it's good to see you, Sniper Girl. How are you? Your van looks awesome. I was just telling everyone. Sniper Girl says, oh my god, my eyes, a reflection from the glasses are too bright. They're not too bad. I can see an OBS over there. I've got to sort of like turn my head and twist my eyes to see. But your van is looking really cool. Very cool indeed. And I saw you posted the image of once you'd made those alterations to the light fittings, and they do look much better. Much more realistic. It looks very cool. Yeah, and you're a machine, Sniper Girl, a machine. What you've got done since in the 2 weeks I was away is incredible. You've done a great job. So yes, getting back to this, we must. I want to push it. If I can't push it enough, then we may have to pause this project while I jump into working on the House in the Hollow, because yeah, like I said, I must get a build ready for NVIDIA because NVIDIA have emailed me and they want to build. So I've also engaged a composer, a French composer, to do the music for the game. So that's cool. He's working on that at the moment. Sniper Girl says, good to see you too, doing well. Working on editing the last bake after that texture and in the rendering program. Oh my god. Can't freaking wait. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yes, no, everything is good. I'm nice and refreshed after my break, as I was telling Smurfberry and the other viewers. It's good to get away for those 2 weeks. I feel brand new. New and improved, Phil. At least for the next couple of months until I start to wait again. But I am well. Looking forward to getting stuck back into everything. Well, I got stuck back in yesterday when I had to go into work. Another girl says, that's good to hear. Yes. So yes, the game. We're going to push through on this one. If it takes too much longer, I'm going to pause this project. We'll jump into the House on the Hollow because I need to do some optimization work before I do a build. I'm not going to... The composer won't have anything ready by the time I send a build through to NVIDIA, so there'll be no music in the build, but and no puzzles because that's still being worked on at the moment. What else? The game. Actually, I've got a couple of software engineers doing programming stuff, which is cool, with a lot of experience. Like one of the guys has got 20 years experience in software engineering. So that should hopefully come through without a problem. I've actually been working on the menu system for the game recently, so I'll show you guys that when we jump into working back on the House on the Hollow. Actually, I did notice, which I haven't used before, but in Epic Games have included a tool where you can merge multi-materials into one material, and we're going to be playing with that to see how that works and how that looks. Because a lot of the assets have multiple draw calls, which is never good for the engine. It always slows any game engine down if there are too many draw calls. DirectX 12 improved on that quite substantially, like a lot, on the number of draw calls that you could use in a game engine. But at the moment, we're still using DirectX 11 for the game. Even though I have updated the game into 4.22.2, which is the latest UE4 version. So it's all been migrated to the new version of the engine, but I'm not using DirectX 12 just yet. Sniper Girl says, wow, tool that allows you to merge multiple materials into one. That's freaking awesome. Yes, it is. It's a merge tool that they included in the engine, I believe in 4.19 or 4.20. So we'll be playing with that in 4.22 and seeing how that works. These automated tools, they're really handy and really helpful. I don't know about results though. Anytime you use automation to do any sort of complex work, because it's a program, it doesn't really know what it's doing. Well, it knows what it's doing, but you know what I mean. It can't make artistic decisions. That's why AI will never take over from creative people. We'll see what the results are like. And provided they're okay, then that will save a huge amount of time. The other thing we're going to do for optimization on the level is I'm going to go through and I'm going to, again, Epic have included a tool where you can do poly reduction, depending on the LOD. Poly reduction for LOD, basically. So we're going to go through, and the biggest performance hit area in the game is actually going to be the house, the manor house itself, because it has all that furniture in it. So I'm going to have to go through and we're going to have to set specific LODs for specific pieces of furniture. That way we can LOD it out much quicker the further we are away, because once it's inside the building, if you're outside, you can't see it anyway. So we're going to have to tackle that manually. But there is a tool to do poly reduction in the engine for LODing, which again, it is a huge time saver. So Smurfy says, give tools. Sniper Girl says, the auto LOD tool works. Yes, it does. I've played with it as well. It does work very well. The auto LODing tool in Unreal. So if you want to make a game and you don't want to mess with your LODs in your 3D program, you can get the engine to do it for you automatically. And it does a really good job. Really good. I don't know who wrote the code that does the LODing, that does the reduction, but they did a good job. It's as good as that other polygon program that was in the engine. What's it called? So let me open up my browser, because there was a program called, and I don't have it here. It was a polygon reduction program, an add-on that's done by a third party, which you can still use. But the built-in tool is really good, really good. Sniper Girl says, going to be doing that for the van? Cool. Yeah, do. Use it. It's like I said, I played with it. It's very good. It does really nice reduction. You've got full control over how much you want it to be reduced by, and it's non-destructive. And by that I mean, once you do your reduction, if you don't like it, you can always go back to the original. So it keeps the original mesh, it does its reduction. You don't like the reduction, you can change it, make it more or less, or if you don't want it at all, you can remove it completely and go back to your original model. So that's incredibly cool, a non-destructive tool like that. The material merge tool is non-destructive as well, in that it creates a new asset. It doesn't destroy your old asset. So again, when we start doing it, if we don't like the results, we don't have to use it because our original asset is still there. So again, that's very cool. Sniper Girl says, no clue, think the auto Lod tool is pure voodoo. It is, it's that voodoo magic. Those guys at Epic and their voodoo magic. So anyway, that's what we will be transitioning into very soon. Let's see how we go with this project. Like I said, if worst comes to worst, I'll just pause this one. We'll jump into working on the level, and then we can come back to this because I do want to get this into my store because people do want to be able to buy new models from me, and I want to be able to sell them new models too. All right. So let's pick something else to start texturing up. It should start to speed up now because we can start reusing a lot of texturing. So I must remind me in case I forget that I have to split this main railing into two meshes because the texture resolution is too low here. So I wonder if I should do that now before I forget. Should I, shouldn't I? Now you may be thinking, if you split this mesh into a number of meshes, then you're going to start increasing your texture count, which is true, but we may be able to reuse the same texture on the three pieces because in a render, people are never going to be seeing all three pieces close up. They'll either see that piece, or they'll see that piece, or they'll see that piece. They'll never see all three together near each other. So reusing the texture is an option. It's something we may be able to get away with. The only problem will be the UV mapping. So I'm just going to isolate this piece before we do anything else so I can sort of work out in my head how I want to tackle this. Sniper Girl says, wanted to ask a question. Looking at selling models soon for two reasons, money and possibly adding the time I've worked on the meshes as a professional work experience on my resume. Fair enough. How would I list that on my resume? Okay, well, I think on my resume I say something like brokered artist for Eon View, because I sell my models on Eon View when they bring their store back, whenever that is. So I usually say that I'm a brokered artist for whatever company that is selling your model. So brokered artist for ArtStation, for instance. That's how I sort of explain that selling side of things. You can go into more detail in your resume sort of when you talk about what your experience is if you want to. You can say that you create and sell 3D models online for clients on ArtStation, that sort of thing. So you should put it on your resume, definitely put it on your resume. If you're selling your work online, it's a good thing for employers to see, because if people are buying your work online, that means that that your work is good enough for people to want to buy, which gives reassurance to your employer that you can actually do what you say you can do. So always do put it on your resume. Yeah, and again, like I said, in the bullet points, because everyone's resume is different. Everyone likes to write their resume differently. They recommend you don't go more than 2 pages for a resume, because after 2 pages, employers just are not going to look at the rest of it. They're time poor and they don't want to look at more than 2 pages, so try and keep it to 2 pages. Mine is 1 page, which is probably a little bit too less. 2 pages would probably be better. It's hard to get all my experience into 1 page, so I may have to rewrite it. I haven't been applying for work, so I haven't bothered rewriting my resume for a while. But yeah, on mine, in a bullet point, I say that I'm a brokered artist for such and such, and then in more detail, I say that I go into a bit more detail saying I create and sell models in an online marketplace at blah, 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 blah for clients, that sort of thing. But do put it in, because it's really useful. Sniper Girl says, was going to was going to go by asset. A lot of my professional experience, I didn't use stuff like Photogrammetry for them. Reason for wanting to add it as well. Yeah, and again, Photogrammetry, if you're using Photogrammetry software, make sure you do put that in your resume. Sniper Echo, it's good to see you, Sniper. How are you? Long time no see. That's my fault because I've been away. But it's good to see you, Sniper Echo. I hope you're well. In the Margarita Monday, which I think was a comment on the Discord from Smurfberry Barbecue. It was very funny, and so was your comment, Sniper Echo, saying that I was still lost in the woods. Or a forced office party. It wasn't an office party, it was a meeting about the second studio. It's good to see you too. Good to see you, Sniper Echo. I hope you're well. I hope your project's going well. Is everything going well? Because you were doing that film project, I think, which is very cool. I hope that's all going well for you. I was just telling the guys, we're still working on the Temple of the Winds. We may have to pause the project. I may have to jump back into the House on the Hollow to start doing some optimization because I need to get a build done. So if I have to pause this, that'll be the reason. Sniper Girl says, if they're opening up a second studio, should ask them to hire me. Again, I have no control over the hiring or firing. That's all done by directors and HR. They make those decisions. Which is not to say that I don't have input in who I think might be good or not, but... It goes good, thanks. Phil, that's good to hear, Sniper Echo. Always good when things go well. Always bad when things go not well. So yes, the texture on this is too low resolution. It's because it's such a large object and we're using one texture to cover the whole thing. It's just spreading our texture a little bit too thin. So what I want to do, I think, is I'm going to see if we can break it up and retexture it and see if we can reuse the same texture again. Now, there's no guarantee we can because it will need to keep the same UV maps, and if there's any difference in the geometry between them, we're not going to be able to reuse the same UV map. Worst case though, at the moment this is using a 4K texture and it's still too low resolution because it's too large and the UV maps are spread too thin, because we wanted to reuse the same UVs on all the other pieces because we're doing like a kit bash. So we have 4 other bases that we have to apply the texture to. And that's the reason that even though it's a 4K texture, it's looking really low resolutions because the UV maps are not packed really well because we wanted to reuse them. So yeah, 4K, you wouldn't know it looking at it though. It looks really low. It looks like a 1K texture when I zoom in here and we check out how pixelated it's starting to look. But that's because of the UV packing, the UV mapping, not more than the texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start breaking this mesh up. So if we can't run one texture over the entire mesh, then what we can do is we can break the mesh up. It's going to collapse my stack. And I'm going to detach these pieces now. So I'm going to detach you. I'm going to call you, what am I going to call you? Try rail 1. There we go. Try because it's 3-step version of the base. Nah. And let's remove this one. And we'll call this one Try Rail 2. And that just leaves the third one, which I'm going to rename Try Rail 3. So far, so good. I also just like to reset the pivot when I do things like this. And like to reset the X-form as well. Just to be on the safe side. And the last one over here. Okay. Sniper Girl says most of my stuff is 2K, to be honest. 2K is usually fine so long as you've got your UVs packed nicely. And again, yeah, it really does depend too, because the industry is moving to 4K now. 4K, I would always texture in 4K, even if you want to sell your model with 2K textures. I would still sell with 4K because 4K gives people the option then of knocking it back. So I'd make them in 4K, at least make them in 4K, and then I'd knock them back to 2K to upload my model for sale if that's what you wanted to do. I wouldn't do that personally. I would make them in 4K and I would sell them as 4K. If you want to give people 2K textures as well as the 4K, if you don't want them to have to do it on their own, then you can do that. It just broadens your market for people that might want to buy your model because, yeah, the industry is moving to 4K now, so a lot more people have 4K TVs and 4K monitors. A lot more games are using 4K if your graphics card can handle it. So I'd always do 4K. Not everything wants 4K. Don't get me wrong. If you've got this tiny little object, 4K is wasted. So it's really dependent on the object as well. Sniper Girl says van and interior walls are 8K. I think that's it. 8K, okay. Sniper Girl says wanted you to be able to read the newspaper and 4K wasn't high enough for that to happen. Well, that makes sense. And again, 8K, I would sell it with an 8K texture. I think that's cool. That's completely fine. Sniper Echo says, yeah, I got instructions to up-res all my stuff to at least 4K. Yeah, 4K is the minimum now. I mean, when I was working in games development about, 6, 7, 8 years ago, 2K was the average then. We're 8 years on now, so 4K is the average now. So I would stick to 4K. Sniper Girl says, moving to 8K soon, to be honest. The next Xbox, they said, will be 8K resolution. Yeah, well, that's right. The next Xboxes and PlayStations, which are coming at the end, I think, is it the end of this year or the beginning of next year? Or it's either this year or next year, the new consoles are being launched. And yeah, they're going to be powerful and they're going to have huge amounts of memory, SSDs, all that sort of good stuff. So if you're a console gamer, then, happy days. Personally, I'm a PC gamer, so I couldn't give a rat's about the consoles, but but yeah, they're getting much more powerful and 8K resolution. There you go. I don't know how many people have an 8K TV. I certainly don't. They're very expensive. Smurfberry says, yeah, I've been authoring my stuff with 4K for years now, so have I. Smurf says, with a mind to optimize the UV so there's enough pixel density to look good, downsize to 2K. Yeah, again, that's why these don't look good. Not because it's the texture, it's the pixel density, it's the UV mapping. It's pretty bad. Well, pretty bad because we tried to reuse the texture. We can't do it for this asset because it's just too big. Sniper Echo says, I'm going to 8K for everything now just to save time. Again, I always advocate go to the highest resolution and then you can always knock it back. It's better because it's you can't go from low res and upsize it to high res. It will look like crap. If you start with high res, you can downsize it to a lower res and it still looks good. So always start with really high resolution. Always 4K now, 8K if you want, like Sniper Echo is going to be doing. Do remember though, the higher the K, the more room space you're going to need, the bigger the hard drives you're going to need to store all the information because it starts to really get huge. I work with some print stuff, which is a higher DPI. So like, for instance, the screen stuff you see on the web, or you're looking at me now on Twitch, that's like 72 dots per inch. When you're doing stuff for print, you go from 300 to 600 dots per inch, and that really blows out the file sizes. Photoshop documents, it's not unusual to have a Photoshop document that's like 10 or 20 gigabytes. That's just an image. But if it's at like 600 DPI. So yeah, the higher the resolution, the higher the DPI count, the bigger the file size. But if you're doing stuff for games, you don't have to worry about the DPI. You keep it at 72 or 120. I believe the Apple Retina likes 120 DPI to look good. Standard is 72 DPI though. Sniper Girl says, believe they said next year, totally going to see if there's a way to convert the next Xbox to a PC. Hey, listen, don't laugh. They're pretty much all they are now are PCs. All of these consoles, they've set them up to be pretty much like PCs. I think they did that for a couple of reasons. It's probably cheaper for the companies like Microsoft and Sony to produce them. And it makes it easier for developers who make games for the PC to then convert them to a console. If everything's sort of similar, if the architecture and the design is similar, then it's easier to port games across to different consoles, that type of thing. And they're going to be cool. I'm pretty sure they're going to be cool console. I can't wait to see what games are made for them, because we'll get them on the PC as well, and they're going to be amazing games. Amazing. Sniper Echo says, to be honest, my system can't handle above 8K. Yeah, 8K, you're starting to push a lot of pixels around at 8K. Well, when you go from 1080p to 2160, so when you go from a 1080p monitor to a 4K monitor, you're quadrupling the amount of pixels. So when you go from a 4K to an 8K, I'm pretty sure you think you do the same thing again. So yeah, that's a lot of pixels. My graphic, very few. I don't think there is a graphics card on the planet at the moment that can handle 8K. Not unless it's on low settings or something for the game, because that's a huge amount of pixels to push around. Sniper Girl says, that reminds me, totally want to make a texture of my business card and hide it in the van. So that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. I want to actually put a couple of Easter eggs in the game, in the House on the Hollow as well. I haven't thought of them yet, but I want some Easter eggs, because that used to be a thing. I don't know if you guys remember, but years ago when you used to play games, the developers used to hide Easter eggs in the game. Rockstar still do it. They did it with GTA 5 and 4. I don't know if they've done it with Red Dead Redemption or not, because it's a console game and I can't play it on PC. But I think it's a really cool idea to hide Easter eggs in things. It's not done enough, because it was always fun to find an Easter egg in a game that the devs had hidden in there. Sniper Girl says, you mentioned print, and was like, yes. Sniper says, hello. Hello to you too, Sniper. You know I never ignore you, Smokeberry Barbecue. I don't ignore any of you guys that pop into chat. I try. If I do, then you scream at me, or you use the command there to get my attention. You know, if you use your Hey Phil command, if you're a sub or if you're a mod, that'll get my attention. Sniper Girl says, yeah, 4K to 8K is quadruple. Yeah, I thought it might have been, because I know from 1080p to 4K is quadruple as well. Sniper Girl says, yeah, love it. Easter egg hunting. Yeah, it's always cool. You were saying the next gen console game, Sniper said. Oh, you're saying Halo. Oh, the next Halo game. The next Microsoft exclusive Halo game. I've never played Halo. It's not my sort of game. You guys know I like single player story group driven games. I don't like multiplayer online stuff. I better get some stuff done here. Sniper Girl says, yeah, next Halo should be nice. Hoping they put it on PC. Well, let's hope so. I mean, Microsoft say they want to start pushing their PC side of things more, so let's see if they do. Now, retexturing these pieces. I guess we can jump into Unfold 3D. It's probably going to be, I'm going to set it up as a new, I'm not going to use the existing, I'm going to make a new set of UVs. Okay, let's see what automated tools we have here that might be good. Let's try this one. Let's throw down a checker pattern so we can check our texel density, make sure everything is neat. It should be okay for what we want. Let's send that back. Now let's see if I can copy that UV map across to the other two pieces. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to or not. It's messed our texture up, but we're going to redo that texture anyway. Smemper says it's already announced on PC. Cool. But I'm not going to play it because I don't like the Halo games. I know a lot of people do, which is fine. I'm just one of those strange people that don't really like Halo games. But then I didn't like the Gears of War games either. I mean, even though there was a single player campaign in Gears of War, I just found all the characters just too stylized. Like all the men were super meaty muscle heads, and I don't like playing games that aren't where they take character creation design to the extreme like that. It suited the game, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the designers that came up with the idea to make them all super beefy muscle men, soldier people. But yeah, I don't know. Sniper Girl says we're getting the MC collection soon, so hoping next Halo as well. Sniper Girl says I'm trying to get a job at 343, so yeah, gotta kind of play it and know what they're all about. Okay. Well, yes, no, for sure. If you want to get a job there, then you need to say you play their games. You can't go into an interview and pretend that you've played their games if you haven't. You've got to know what you're talking about. So you're forgiven then, Sniper Girl. Mercury says you got to start with Marathon. Again, I don't know what you got to do. Anyway, let's see if we can copy these UVs across. Now, there's no guarantee we're going to be able to do it. We may have to make unique textures. Sniper Girl says when MC Collection comes out on PC, I probably will. I'm just going to throw an unwrap down here, and I'm going to open it up to check that our UVs have transferred across, and they have, which is good. I'm going to copy that unwrap. I'm going to see if I can paste it onto this one now. Now you see it did not like it, which means I can't reuse the UVs, which is a real pain. But the reason for that is obviously there's slight difference in the geometry between these two pieces, so we can't reuse the UV maps. I can try one more way, which is to go into the channel info and see if we can do it that way. Again, there's going to be no guarantee I can. I probably won't be able to, but we will try. I'm going to copy the map channel. See, now you see it won't let me paste it, which means it's saying, computer says no. You cannot paste the UV map across, so that's okay. It just means we're going to have to texture them individually. Sniper Girl says still not on Steam. Smurfberry says Marathon is what they made before Halo. Sniper Girl says only Halo I played was 1 and 2, the original PC release. Believe those were Bungie. I think you're right. Okay, so we can't paste them across. We're just going to have to send it over to Rhizome and get it to do it. And we're going to have to use 3 textures, unfortunately. Nothing we can do about it, I'm afraid. Again, this program I'm using, I've talked about it before. It's called Rhizome UV. It's amazing software for UV mapping. If you hate UV mapping and you want something to do it for you pretty much automatically, I recommend this software. Saves me huge amounts of time UV mapping. You don't have to buy it outright. You can rent it as well if you like the subscription model, which I don't, but you can buy it outright or you can rent it. Okay, let's do the last one here. And let us auto magically UV map it. Check out UV maps. What I could do is I could go through and straighten up these curved sections. If we were going to be using a texture that had a pattern, you would want to straighten those edges up, which are these top pieces here. But because we're adding a gold paint to this, it's not necessary for us to straighten it up. We're not going to have a problem where you're going to see it's not straight. But if you by all means, if you were putting a pattern texture on there, you'd want to straighten these pieces up. But I think we should be fine. A Sniper Girl says, we'll be honest, prefer to do it manually. Think it doesn't do as good a job packing as I can, and it makes seams in odd places. It can. Remember though, if you use the tool, you can always throw an unwrap on in your 3D program, and you can go in and you can stitch anything up that you think it's where it's put a seam that you don't want. You can even do that in Rhizome itself. You don't have to do it in your other program as well. Rhizome generally doesn't do too bad a job. You are right though. You're going to always get a better result doing things manually than relying on a program to do it. That's what I was talking about with the tool in the Unreal Engine that does multi-materials into one. We're going to have to see what sort of result it gives us, because a tool is never going to give you as good a result as doing it by hand. I just hate UV mapping so much. I just really do. Let's send this over to Substance Painter so that we can retexture it. Now we'll be able to retexture it quickly because we saved a smart material. So again, it's always going to complain the first time I try and send something over. So we will just do it again. Algorithmic have released the plugin for Macs as well, the Substance Integration plugin. It's not relevant to what we're doing because we're not rendering things in V-Ray or Corona or anything like that. The integration plugin is to transfer your materials from Substance versions into versions that V-Ray or Corona or Redshift can use. So I did post about it on my Twitter page, mentioning they'd released it for Max 2020. So let's start by baking out our maps. 2K is fine, use low res as high res, bake material. But there's nothing wrong if you like UV mapping, do it by hand, because you will always get a better result. Okay, let me jump into my smart materials. And let me see if I can search for because I generally always put my in front of everything that I make. My railings, is this the one I want? Don't think it is. Temple, my rail, lower borders, no it's not that one. Just let me have a quick look through here. It's rusty gold, this is the one we want. I didn't put my in front of it, very remiss of me. Very, very remiss of me. We will fix that right now, so it's easier for us to find now. So we're going to start by just throwing that smart material we created on our mesh. Now we did do some distressing, we're going to have to redo that, but that won't take very long. So let me just remove the blank layer that we got at the bottom. Turn off the dirt layer so we see our gold a little bit more easily. I might just make a couple of alterations to this gold here, to the scaling value. Actually, to the underlying one, I think. I won't do it on the gold, I'll do it on the underlying texture. I think this is the one that's looks like it's throwing a repeating pattern. It's actually not that one. It is actually the gold, I think. Let's have a look. No, it's not that one. Let's play with the offset a little bit. It might actually be in the mask. I think it's in the mask where I'm seeing this repeating pattern happening. Yeah, it's in the mask here. So we can either push it down or push it up. Worst comes to worst, what we can do is we can do an overpaint. Now, I know we're seeing here a little bit of a repeating pattern here and here, but that's more in the gold itself, which will be covered up a bit when we put the dirt layer back on top. So let's just let's add a paint layer. Let's change our brush to that Dirt 2 brush, which I love so much. And let's start painting out just along the edges here a little bit. Let's reduce our brush, it's a bit too big. Again, I'm just going to do this quickly. I may jump, I'm using the mouse at the moment, but I'm going to jump into using the Wacom pen just to get a bit more control. And you don't have to listen to me click, 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 click in the background of my mouse. Yeah, it's always better to use the pen. Usually. Clickety click, that's right. You hear that clickety click of the mouse, and the Yeti, unfortunately, my Blue Yeti microphone picks up everything. You can hear me when I'm typing on my keyboard. You can hear me when I burp. Not that I've ever burped on stream. Not saying I wouldn't though. But yeah, that clickety click 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 can get annoying really quick. Let's just jump down to the lower layer. I'm going to make it heavier in areas here where there's already a bit of distressing, just to carry that through to the top, from the side here to the top. So I'm sort of adding it where there's already a bit of distressing to make it look like the wear is covering the top and the side. I may just knock back on the height value a little bit too for the underlying metal. I just think it might be a bit bumpy. Might just add a bit more through here as well, of wear and tear. Going to quickly go across. I'm going to do the top. I won't do the bottom rung. Just a little bit here and there along the top inner edge as well. You know, I still haven't seen the new Avengers movie. I must get out to do that at some stage, because I do want to watch it. Got to see how it all ends. I'm just going to increase my brush size here, and I'm just going to add a bit more distressing in some areas here and there. Alright, let's just throw the dirt layer back on top. And again, we're just going to throw a paint layer down so that we can start removing some of the dirt from different spots. And I can use a larger brush for this one. I threw the paint layer on the wrong layer, so I'm just going to remove that. We want to put the paint layer on the mask. That's better. I'm thinking, why are you painting with white? What's going on? I'm going to increase my brush size because we just need to go over this roughly here and there. All I'm doing is removing some of the dirt from different spots just to bring up a bit more of the gold, which will look cool when we do our beauty render. It'll catch the light nicely. But we do want to leave some of the dirt on there because it gives us like that two-tone color for the gold. It doesn't just look all bright gold. It's brighter gold and duller gold. Okay, I think we should be good. Let us change the material name here so that it's not called Material 453. We're going to call, I think this was rail 1 from memory. Try rail 1. Oh, text for texture. I'm going to save it so we can come back to it if we need to. We're going to export the textures, and I'm going to export this as a 2K texture. I know I said what I said before about 4K. I could export it at 4K. Because it's a substance project, we can still come back and re-export it at 4K. If 2K is not enough, then I will re-export it, but we'll export it 2K, we'll check it, and we'll take it from there. So let's export. Galen, it's good to see you, Galen. How are you, buddy? Welcome back. Did you have fun wallowing with the wallabies? I did. Thanks for asking. Yes, no, it was very nice, very relaxing. I don't want to be back. I still want to be up there in the mountains with all the kangaroos. It was great. No, I love it. I love getting away every year and recharging. But it's good to see you. I hope you're well. Always good to see you guys. All right, let's jump back into Max. It was actually Tri-Rail 3, not Tri-Rail 1, but anyway. Let us create a new material. Sniper Girl says agreed. Love seeing everyone here. Yes, it is. It's always nice to see you guys pop in. I'm glad you guys didn't forget about me while I was gone for those 2 weeks. Every streamer's nightmare that they come back and there's no one there to watch them. Take me back to my days of when I first started streaming. That's okay. You stream to it because you enjoy it, not for you guys. I stream for myself. So not true. So not true. Let's throw down a DirectX shader. Sniper Girl says, I've been watching you too damn long. No way I could forget you. Well, that's sweet. What a nice thing to say. Thank you, Sniper Girl. How could you forget, Phil? Maybe I'm a bit luckier with you guys, and I appreciate all you guys that watch my streams because, like I said, streamers want people to watch them. I want to talk to you guys. That's why I stream on Twitch. Half the fun for me is talking to you guys in chat, so I know I don't get a lot of my work done, but that's okay. Because I like chatting. I've told you I'm a motor mouth. I can talk under wet cement. So I like chatting to you guys, and I do appreciate the fact that you guys do watch my streams regularly. My regular watchers, I do appreciate that. I know there's plenty of people you could be watching on Twitch. So the fact you want to watch me during my 2-hour stream, I do appreciate. What did you post in Discord, Galen? Again, I have Discord open all the time, so the University of Sydney, Spaceport America. Oh, okay. Galen says, spent the last part of last week at Spaceport America. Okay. Are you in this picture? This is the University of Sydney. So is this the uni in Sydney? The picture that you actually posted about the Spaceport America. Snowbury says, this guy I know found a really cool UE4 ice shader on 80 levels, but the download link for the example files are dead. So this guy you know found a really cool UE4 ice shader on 80 levels. I don't know what 80 levels is, but the download link for the example files are dead. Well, it's always a bitch. Alan says, spoke with those students. Oh, okay. I was an international collegiate rocket champion. Oh, cool. Anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, Smurfer, Galen just posted an image in the Discord server about Spaceport America. I've never actually heard of Spaceport America. Did you enjoy it? Was it fun? So you're an international collegiate rocket competition. It was an international collegiate rocket competition. Well, that would be fun, actually, to go to something like that. That would be fun. It'd be even more fun to be actually involved in it and set those rockets off. Yeah. Very cool. So we've changed it to an interactive shader. Let's load up our map. So we want the normal map. The little hand thing here is from my work I was doing in the game level. Let's move out of that. Temp. Send to substance. Tri-Rail 3 is the one. We want the normal map, and we want to make sure we override to 1 gamma. And then we want the color map. And then the metallic map, which I think is this one. Yep. And finally the roughness map, which should be this one. Sniper Girl says, Phil straight up ignored my question. What was your question? Oh, sorry. Sniper Girl is saying, now with you taking an extra day off, are you going to stream tomorrow? No. I will not be making up my lack of stream yesterday for a stream tomorrow, I'm afraid, guys. Yeah, no, I can't do that. I've got other stuff I've got to do for work. And that stuff I can't stream. Because they make me sign those horrible NDA things where they say if I stream, if I talk about or show people what I'm working on, they'll lock me up. Or they won't lock me up, but they'll sue me for everything I'm worth. If it wasn't for that, I would stream and show you what I work on for work, but I can't. So we've turned all of those on, so that's good. Let's just pull in the bitmap so it reminds me of what this actual DirectX shader is. Which is this one here. I'll just plug that into the... This does nothing. This does nothing for the DirectX shader. This is simply so a visual reminder for me as to what that shader is. Otherwise, all I get is a grey little sphere. But I do want to make this shader unique and open up the node tree and increase the number of lights. So instead of 1 light, we'll go to 3. And because we've changed it, we must make sure we export the graph. And we're going to call this Tri-Rail 3. Okay. Selected, so let me assign the material. Okay, now that's better. It's hard for us to say because the texture's messed up on the old one. That's better, but I still think it could probably go a little higher. And the bump, I want to knock the bump back as well. The bump is too high. I forgot to do that. Galen says it was hot and exhausting, but it was fun. It was helping a Twitch streamer live stream the event to do interviews. Oh, cool. Sniper Girl says to Galen, nice, sounds like fun. Sniper Girl says NDAs are more like recommendations. Oh no, they're much more than a recommendation, that's right. They would just like for you not to talk about it, but if you do, then nothing will happen. That's, no. You sign an NDA, you can be sued if you talk. You spill the beans about what you've been working on or show people what you're working on after signing an NDA, you are in trouble. So I'm just going to open up Substance Painter. I'm going to open up that level that we just worked on, that derailing this one here, this one. So I'm just going to open it up outside of Max. It makes no difference. So yes, don't do that. Don't talk about stuff or show people stuff if you've signed an NDA. Galen says, for all you are worth, they must not value it much. For all you're worth or all they can get. The whole point of an NDA is not to talk about it. That's why they make you sign them. A lot of game studios do it because a lot of game studios are making a game and they don't want the general public or competitors is generally the reason they do it. They don't want someone to compete with them by making the same game with the same sort of story. So they make people sign an NDA so that no one finds out what they're making and tries to rip them off by making it sooner or another version of it. Snappygirl says, yeah, true, yeah. So what I'm going to do here, I'm noticing the bump is the underlying metal. So there's a couple of things I can do here. I can turn off the height information because it's the actual height information that's causing a lot of that bump. If we look sort of here. So turning off the height information does remove most of that bumpy underlying metal. If we did want to keep the bump, we could increase the scale, which would reduce the scale. Increase the, they call it scale, they used to call it tiling. Increase the tiling so to reduce the scale that way. Or we could, if we did want to keep the height information on, we could just change our height information down here a bit. So we do keep a little bit of a bump, but not quite as bumpy as it was. Because they are metal, they are going to have an underlying bump. Just increasing the tiling a little bit just to reduce the size of the bump. Might just pull up on the height range just a little bit. That should be better. And I'm also going to export the texture at 4K. So 4K, it'll just overwrite the other ones. We shouldn't have to do any changes to our shader. Okay, let's save our project. Save our project. And go back into Max. It's complaining about, I forgot about that. Max complains about materials being updated outside of the outside of the program, and it will crash. Oh, give me strength. I've only noticed this happening with Max 2020. I've never had this problem with Max 2018 when I was using it. I'm going to get it to attempt to save a copy of the scene. With a bit of luck, we'll pick up where we left off because it'll save it out for us. Just got to give it a minute here to save that out. What's the stream using 3D Studio Max without it crashing? Come on, it's just the way it goes. Good chance for me to have a drink of coffee. I won't send that off to you just yet. Oh, come on. Okay, let's just quickly open Max up again. The other thing I've noticed about Max 2, the new version 2020, it takes a lot longer to start up than 2018 did, for some reason. Like 2018 used to start up, let's say in 20 seconds. Max 2020 seems to take almost twice as long as that. And it's here. It gets to this stage quickly, about the same as 2018 did, but it sits here for like forever before it actually gets to a usable state. And I've only noticed it with 2020. And I have a feeling it's to do with the Autodesk licensing that's running in the background as a service. It's checking all that sort of stuff before it actually lets you into the program. I think that's what's going on. Sniper Girl says that's Autodesk Stream in general. You can use an Autodesk product. It's not a normal stream if it does. That's right, if it doesn't crash at least once. You know you're not doing it right if you don't crash the program. Isn't that the way it goes? Let's see if we can reload the project though. Let's see if it did actually save it for us. Generally Max's autosave is pretty good. It saved me on a couple of occasions when the program has crashed. Eon View does a similar thing. If the program crashes, it tries to save a copy of your scene that you're working on. Let's see how it goes. One thing you've got to be careful of though, if you're using Max and Max is crashing on you a lot and it's auto-saving your scenes a lot, it's going to start chewing up a huge amount of your hard drive space if they're a big scene like this. This model is quite heavy, so I think as far as file size goes, it's like 200 meg or something. So if it crashes a lot and you start piling up those 200 megs in the temp folder, you're going to start running out of room on your hard drive and thinking, where's all my space gone? Smurfberry says crashes are hilarious when they happen to other people. That's right. It's always fun when it's not you, isn't it, Smurfberry? I don't know what that little noise was. I don't see anything happening here. We'll give it a little while. Worst comes to worst, it's not a big problem. We didn't do a huge amount of work. We just split a mesh and painted it, so... That's my fault, you see, for not remembering to save. What do I say to you? What do I say to you guys? Save, save, save. What do I do? Not save, not save, not save. Again, I turn autosave all. So if I'd had autosave turned on, it probably would have been okay too. But I'd rather risk it than have autosave slow my workflow down. And you see Max recovered fine. So it's not an issue. And it's obviously a bug in the program in 2020 when you update textures outside of Max that are being referenced, it causes it to crash. But that could just be these DirectX shaders that we're using that's causing it to crash. A normal shader might not. So just putting that out there. And that's better. Now we're getting a nice resolution on our rail. So that should be good. Good stuff. But let's first things first, make a save, a proper save. So I'm going to save as, I'm going to do an incremental save back to my normal folder, which is here, I believe. Yes. And we were up to revision 30. We'll go to revision 31. And once that's saved out, we will just texture up the other two rail sections. And again, we could get away with a 2K texture on this rail section. What we can do is we can be tricky. I'm going to check the UVs in a minute once it's finished saving. We may be able to pack all the UVs into one UV 0 to 1 space. Let's just have a look. So I'm going to throw down an unwrap and have a look at our UVs. You see, no, we probably can't get the 3 in, but we might be able to get 2 in. Because we do have all this space here. If we straighten these up, we could probably pack 3 in, but let's see if we can get 2 in together. So we'll leave that one on its own, but what we're going to do with these ones is, we did UV map these, didn't we? Let me double check. That one's done, and that one's done. So what we can do is collapse the stack. I'm just going to select one, throw an unwrap on, and I'm going to move my UVs out of the 0 to 1 space. So just off to the side here. These UVs should still be in the 0 to 1 space. Again, I'm just going to double check. They are. Now we can attach both of these pieces together. Throw down another unwrap. And get Max to pack these two UV sets together. I won't get it to rotate clusters, but I will get it to fill holes. Okay, now we still have some space here. Probably enough for a third UV set. No, we'll keep it to 2. I think if we introduce another one, it would mean we would have to retexture this again, and I don't really want to do that. So we'll keep it to 2. So instead of using 3 4K textures, we'll use 2. We'll use 1 for that one and 1 for that one. We'll see what that looks like, gives us what that gives us. So let's send this over to Substance Painter. I'm just going to collapse the stack. Let's try rail 1. We'll leave it called try rail 1. Say that 3 times really quickly. Let's send it over to Substance. It's going to complain. I'll just do it again. Sniper Girl says, I'm liking your temple. Well, thank you, Sniper Girl. I'm liking your van. I'm keen to get the temple finished so number 1, I can put it on my store for sale, and number 2, I can move on to doing something else. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying making the temple. It's fun. It's been fun. Let's jump into our smart materials. Let me filter it out by my smart materials, my rusty gold. That's the one we want. And I must remember to bake out my underlying mesh maps. Sniper Girl says, thanks, needed something to escape the house on the hollows. That's right. We need some way to get out of the hollow. That's the whole point of the game. You've got to try and find a way out of the hollow. You're stuck there. Okay. Let's start by getting rid of the blank layer at the bottom. Turning off the dirt. The repetition here is not too bad, so that's cool. Let's add a paint mask. Back to add dirt to brush. Sniper Echo says, Max crashing, do things ever change? Sniper Girl says, well, Smokeberry and I have a way out already. We'll just leave you there by yourself. Nice. Real nice. Just leave me in the hollow on my own. That's nice. Wow. That's okay. It means I'll have the pond all to myself when I want to have a shower. Or when I want to wash. The pond will be all mine. We must put that kitchen and that bathroom in. Just increasing my brush size just a little bit. This railing's a bit more dirty than the first one we did. A little bit more distressed, a little bit rustier. Because why not? Amenities hype snow. That's right, the amenities hype. Hype for the kitchen and the bathroom. I don't know what design I'm going to go for the kitchen, actually. I guess we'll find out when the time comes and we jump back into the level. It's a period building, like deco-y period building. I think what I'll probably end up doing though is go like a stainless steel in the kitchen. I think that will probably look best with some wood. So stainless steel benches and things, and that's, you know, that sort of stuff. Pots and pans, all that sort of junk. As far as the bathroom goes though, I don't know about that. I do want to keep that like period, deco-y period type look for the bathroom. So much I got to think about for this game. Puzzles, all that sort of stuff. Although, like I said, I'm happy I got the menu system done. That's all, the main menu and all that sort of stuff is all done and ready. So that when the build goes off, it's easy for the guys at NVIDIA to navigate, to load up a new level, save a level, that sort of stuff. It's the main reason I wanted to get it done first. The next thing I'll probably move on to after Optima. Here's what's going to happen with the House on the Hollow, guys, when that's the full-time project here on stream. There's too much work for me only to work on it when I'm streaming. I'm going to have to do work on it outside of my streaming hours. So I will be streaming it while I'm working. I'll stream while I'm working on it. But I'm also going to be working on it and not streaming things. Otherwise, I'll never get it done. I'm even considering taking a leave of absence from work to actually get the thing finished. Because it's a big job. Making a game, like I said to you guys the other day, it's a huge job. Much bigger than people think. So yeah, I'm considering taking a leave of absence. I may do a Kickstarter to try and supplement my income if I decide to do a leave of absence from work. Because they'll let me take the time off, that's not a problem. But they don't want to pay me while I'm not working. Which is fair enough. Sniper Girl says, well, can leave the portable toilet for you if you want. Means you've never built a bathroom. If you want means. No. Well, the portable toilet might come in very handy. I told you though, there's a forest and there's plenty of leaves around, so you know. What do you got to complain about? Who needs a toilet? Who needs proper facilities? You've got a forest and you've got leaves. That's all you need. Ew. Nasty. There it is. Sniper Wrecker says, are you still planning on adding the amenities in separate DLCs? That's right. That's a great idea, Sniper Wrecker. If you want the bathroom, you got to buy that bathroom DLC. If you want the kitchen, you got to buy the kitchen DLC. You want a bedroom to sleep in, you got to buy the bedroom DLC. I'm surprised more game studios haven't tried that one on already. Could you imagine the outrage? People would go nuts. It was bad enough. Do you remember the horse armor in Skyrim? When Skyrim was released and Bethesda released the horse armor? All the crap that they copped when they did that? I can't even remember what they charged for it, but it wasn't cheap either. You wanted to buy armor for your horse. I mean, it had no use in the game because, you know, it didn't protect the horse or anything. It was just a visual thing. I remember the outrage and the outcry at the time when they released the horse armor as a DLC, a paid DLC. Sniper says, you already have the menu done? Yes, I do. I do have the menu done. I've got all the integration, all the blueprint done. So, you know, things like changing your audio sources, changing your screen resolution, changing your FPS, saving the game, loading the game, continuing a game. What else is in there? Settings. There's a link that in the main menu that'll take you straight to the houseonthehollow.com webpage, a link that'll take you directly to the Steam store page, and a link, when I say a link, proper graphical links that will take you to the Epic Games Store page as well when the game goes online. But my main reason for wanting the menu done was, like I said, so that when the guys at NVIDIA load it up, it's easy for them to use. You know what I mean? I keep forgetting there's another one over there I gotta do. So yeah, it's easier for them to load the game level up and play, test it, look at it. All they really want to do is they want to look at the build. So Sniper Girl says, in that case, be sure to wipe with poison oak. Ooh, wouldn't that be nasty? Ooh, that would not be good. Wiping your bottom with poison oak would not be a good thing. Just going to increase my brush a little bit. Sniper Girl says, Phil can call you Mr. Itchy. Mr. Inchy. It's hard sometimes to find your brush. When it goes off of the mesh, it sort of disappears. Okay, that'll do for that side. Let's jump around to this one. Either too far or too close. I can't get it just in the right spot. There we go. Let's reduce the brush size a little bit. Alan says, sounds like wildcard. Sniper Echo says, I didn't realise you knew the new E4 blueprints that well. Well enough to get a menu put together, yeah. I'm not going to say I'm some sort of whiz with the blueprints in UE4. And actually the blueprint system is actually really nice. Kudos to Epic Games for their blueprints, because if you're not a C++ programmer, which I'm not, it's a really good, a nice way to actually get some program coding done using blueprints without the need to actually learn C++. That's why I have a couple of guys that are actual programmers for any C++ work. They can work on that. But you can do all sorts of really cool and interesting things with blueprints. They don't tend to. The other good thing about blueprints is they don't tend to break the level. So sometimes if you program C++ stuff in Unreal and you upgrade the engine to the new version, sometimes Epic can make changes that will break C++ code. So either your game won't load, your game will crash, your game won't bake out or won't build. Whereas if you stick to blueprints, you're pretty much safe in that regard. You won't cause problems for the engine when you upgrade to new versions. Some things you have to do in C++, you can't do them in blueprints though, so that's when you got to lock down the engine version. Yeah, and her van is looking very cool. Sniper, as I agree, Sniper Girl's van is looking very cool. She's put a lot of work into it though too, so you know, it all comes back to what we were saying before. The more work you put in, the better the result, and she's put a lot of work into it. She hasn't tried to knock it out in like, a day or even a week. The more work you put in, the better the result will be, and that shows with the band because it's looking really cool. It's the other reason I don't mind taking my time doing stuff, because I enjoy what I do, so I don't want to rush it. I'm not a machine. I don't work on a production line. I don't need to knock it out within a day. I mean, sometimes for stuff at the studio I do. But I don't like it when I have to, and I know I don't like it. I like to do things properly, not do them quickly, unless I absolutely must. Quality over quantity any day. It'll serve you right if you always think quality over quantity. Sniper says, although I doubt you will need to get into C++ for much unless you have something very specific. Well, that's true. Again, I'm not down the line enough yet to flesh out exactly what coding needs to go in. Any coding that I'm concerned about might be regarding puzzles. Again, like you said, I could probably get away with using Blueprint for most of it anyway, but having these guys, these C++ programmers working in case they're needed is just reassuring for me. Because yeah, my biggest concern about making the game level is going to be the puzzles. Everything else I'm not too worried about. Like I said, the guy doing the music in France, that's all cool, because I can't make music. I'm not a music person. So having somebody else do all that sort of stuff is a load off my mind, something else I don't have to worry about. I'm just going to have to go through and look at this repeating pattern through here. We'll do that in a minute though. Blueprint work, I'm not too bad with. I'm not saying I'm a whiz with blueprints, but I can sort of work my way around a blueprint. Put it that way. I can step through a blueprint. I can put together a blueprint. It'd probably take me longer than most people, but I can do it. And I did need to do quite a bit of blueprint work recently anyway, so. Animation, I'm not an animator, so I won't be doing it. You'll be glad to hear, guys and girls, I won't be doing any animation work. Any animation that gets done will be done by an animation professional, not me. Unless it's basic sort of animation stuff, not character animation or anything like that. In fact, there aren't going to be any characters in the game. Again, to try and reduce the scope of the game as much as possible, because the smaller the scope, the more of a chance there is for everything to come together and work properly. Less of a chance for something to break or for some showstopper to stop you from actually releasing the game. And part of my reasoning for that was not to include any characters because they're unnecessary. It's a game that's going to be focused around you, the player, escaping the hollow. If I was to want to introduce characters, they would not be playable characters, or they would not be NPCs, put it that way. We'll see how we go when it comes time to actually put the story together, or flesh the story out a little bit more, because that's something else as well I haven't really given a lot of thought to. So Haven't thought about much, have I? Snappy Girl says, honestly, it's one hell of a project. Wanted to quit a few times. Well, I'm glad you didn't quit, because you can see the result you came up with, that you created, by sticking to it. Snappy says, yeah, I agree, Phil. Smurfberry says, I'm not a machine. That's just what a machine would say. Indeed. Sniper Girl says, if when I get done with the van gas station, would still be willing to help you. Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you. Sniper Echo says, yeah, it may just be faster to get them to work on that. Smurfberry Barbecue, he just said he only likes NPC. You put words in. I don't know what you're hearing, Sniper Echo. I don't know what it is. What's going on in your head? What you hear and what I say. All right, that should do. Let's just remove some of the dirt now. So let's turn our dirt layer back on. Let me get this into a position where I can see it. Dirt. Let's add a paint layer. Increase our brush size quite a bit. And just start painting some of the gold back in. And yes, I clickety click, you can hear it's me using the mouse. I don't need to use the tablet pen for this sort of overall paint. In fact, I'm going to put my pen down. Sniper says if only there was a VOD to confirm my state. No way. And well, yes, that's right. You go back and check the VOD. I did not say. So yeah, no, I'm not planning no NPCs. It's more of a. Remember the game Edith Finch? It's like that, not like Edith Finch, but that type of game where there's no other NPCs. It's you on your own solving puzzles to make your way to escape the hollow, to be able to escape the hollow. So that's the sort of idea I'm going for. Okay, that repeating pattern is gone. Remember I said I wanted to check that repeating pattern, but that looks like the dirt layer has covered up that, so that's good. Okay, let us rename the material. And we're going to call this one, we'll call it Rail 2, because I can't remember if it's supposed to be Rail 3 or Rail 1. I think it's supposed to be Rail 1, but we'll call it Rail 2. Let's export it. In fact, let's just save it to begin with. Let's export the textures. It's going into try Rail 1, okay. Galen says puzzle game, my favorite genre. Yeah, mine too. That's why I want to make something I'd like to play, not make something that I think other people, you know, I'm making the game for me. I'm not making it for other people. So, and puzzle sort of game is what interests me. So that's the plan. Single player, story driven puzzle type game, because that's what I like to play. And I'm sure there are a lot of other people that like to play those sort of games as well. So. I have to say too that NVIDIA have been really good with regard to talking about the game, interest in the game, wanting to help promote the game, all that sort of thing. Although they do want me to integrate RTX, the real-time ray tracing stuff. They're keen for me to put that in the engine, in the game. Sniper says, plot twist idea. At some point, the player finds out that the key to escaping is in the kitchen. No, the key is in the toilet. In the toilet. Sniper Girl says, but according to EA single player game, yeah, well, that's right. Because EA are such, experts on everything, aren't they, Sniper Girl? Single player games, no one plays them anymore. The reason they say that, the reason they push multiplayer is because they don't have to come up with a story. It's cheaper and quicker. That's why companies like EA say things like, single player games are over, no one wants to play single player games, everyone just wants to do multiplayer online. It's because they can make them quicker and they can make them cheaper. They don't care. They're not in it for the art, they're in it just to make a buck, and as quick a buck as they can. That's their reason for trying to sprout this rubbish that's single player games. People aren't interested in them anymore. Phil will never get a job at EA. Not if they ever see my streams. If they ever watch back my streams. Smurfberry says it's the cookies. Smurfberry says the cookie jar of victory. Cookie, it is good to see you. Cookie, how are you? How have you been? Been away for a couple of weeks, but it's great to see you, Cookie. I hope you're well. Sniper Girl says, I wouldn't get a job at EA either. I mean, I'm so freaking hard. They wouldn't give me a job, I don't think, after me bitching about them as much as I do. But I wouldn't work for them. They actually, here in Melbourne, there is an EA studio here in Melbourne. They were looking for staff, and there was no way I was going to apply to them, because I've heard too many horror stories. I know people that have worked at EA. No one I've spoken to that's ever worked for them has liked working for them. Let's just put it that way. So I'm not a masochist. I don't want to go out of my way to work for a studio that where I'm not going to enjoy it. Put it that way. Why bother? Why work for someone why work somewhere or do something you're not going to enjoy if you can? I mean, if you've got no other choice, then that's fair enough. But I have a full-time job. I don't need to go apply for work with EA. Cookie says, yeah, good, thanks. Likewise, Phil. And Sniper, it's good to see you, Cookie. It's good to hear you well. So we've changed our DirectX shader to interactive. Let's load up our maps. And we're looking for rail 1. This one, try rail 1. We're going to start with the normal map. And then the color map. Metallic. And our roughness. I was envisioning, actually, because my first stream back after being on holiday for 2 weeks, I was envisioning having all sorts of problems with OBS, because I updated OBS. I updated all my machines to the new version of Windows, the new point release 1903 or whatever it's called. So I had visions of me having all sorts of problems starting my stream today, but everything seems to have gone fine. OBS is fine, no dropped frames, my internet's good, mic levels look fine. So I'm happy. Let's use the normal map, the color map, the metallic map, and the roughness map. We're also going to pull in the bitmap so we know what the shader is. And I want to make it unique and open up the node tree. I'm going to change the number of lights from 1 to 3 again. Okay, we'll change that, so let's save it. We're going to call this one rail 1. No, what do we call it? Try rail 1, I think. Yeah. Just make sure I'm not overwriting a file. Yep, no, that's good. That's good. Is our thing selected? It is. Let's assign our texture. And let's check it. And again, that's fine. The only thing I forgot to do was to reduce the bump. And you know, if I try and do it now, Max is going to crash because it doesn't like having the textures changed outside of the engine. So the bump is not too bad. Cookie says takes cover from imminent explosion. Sniper Girl says hi. Sniper Echo says, by the way, anybody seen Leg Mob recently? No, I haven't seen Leg Mob. What's going on with that boy? Well, that man. Last time I spoke to him, he was corresponding with that girl in Belgium or wherever it was, in Europe somewhere. I hope he's well. I haven't seen him streaming. I haven't noticed him streaming. Mind you, I've been away for a couple of weeks, so I haven't been sort of on Twitch to see, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him for a while. Sniper Girl says, wow, I looked up images for a dirty machete, and the first image is one that someone used for a murder. That's great. Yeah, you gotta be careful when you're doing research, image research, and you're doing a Google image research. You never know what might pop up. Smurfberry says, disregard my search history. I'm a 3D artist, not a murderer. That's right. Google have it all now. They have all that history. They know all, they see all. So now we've got a nice higher resolution. Let us exit isolation mode. So we can look at our overall model in a little bit more detail. Let's just wait for those textures to load in. Sniper Echo says, I bet Legmog sold out to Netflix or Hulu. I think that's his plan. I think he wants to. He wants to sell out to Netflix or Hulu. You know, I read an interesting thing the other day actually about Netflix. It's or any series actually. Apparently it's incredibly rare for any TV series to go beyond 3 seasons. And in fact, Netflix, regardless of how popular the season is, or the series is, generally won't renew for a TV show more past 3 seasons. Sure what the reason really for them doing that is. I'm sure there is a good one. I think they said that most people won't watch a series more than 3 seasons long, something like that. I just thought it was interesting. Because even Stranger Things, that really popular Netflix exclusive series, it's only coming up to the 3rd season. Yes, thank you, Microsoft. I know that, thank you for telling me that I have no viruses. Sniper Girl says, would be shocked what the NSA would think of my search history with this project. Cookie says, now you're going to start getting ads for murder weapons. That's right. You want to murder someone? Here's a machete. So now I'm just zooming in here so we can get a bit closer look. It's hard for us to see here because of the lighting. So if I zoom around, maybe we can find an angle that we can see that railing a little bit better. What if we look at it from the back side here, we can probably see it because of the lighting. But now our railing is high resolution enough, it blends in with the rest of our railing sections without it looking like it was too low res, like it was before. So that's all good. Max is being just a little bit slow on me today. So let's just do a quick save again, because we don't want to lose what we've done. We don't want the program to crash. And Galen says people start asking for higher salaries. Oh, that's that you were right, Galen. You're completely correct. Yes, that could be it too, that people after the 3rd season want to get paid more. So if Netflix cancel the series after the 3rd season, then they can avoid paying more for the actors. Sniper Girl, says, at least I know what dried blood really looks like on a machete. Still though, a bit disturbing. Yuck. Sniper Echo says, to Sniper Girl, I'm betting the NSA are adding all them keyword interests to your CV. And they will offer a job soon. Yes, dried blood. It is a terrible subject, but if you're a games maker, I guess you've got to think about it. The colour change of blood once it dries, because it goes from, red to that muddy, dark colour once it's dry. Well, like a dark burgundy colour. Dried blood. Okay, so we've saved that out. What are we going to work on next? So I just wanted to fix the railings now while I remember, otherwise I know I was going to forget. So I think the next thing we can move on to is we're working from the inside out. Let's look at this piece here. Okay, I just want to check our UV mapping. I'm not sure if we UV mapped it or not. No, we did UV map it, so that's all good. Let's send it over to Unfold 3. No, we've UV mapped it. Let's send it over to Substance Painter. See, I'm away for 2 weeks and I lose the plot. Already lose the plot. I just want to, before I send that over, make sure it's named correctly. So we're going to call this Fountain Base. I copy that name so I can use it for the texture. And let's send it over to Substance Painter. Yes, you're always complaining. Always complaining. Sniper Girl says to Sniper Echo, probably be shocked if there's not a van outside of my place right now. Cookie says there's a substance thing. Yes, there's a substance thing. I've been doing it the hard way. Oh yes, are you talking about that little plugin that I just used in Max, Cookie? Because you can download that for free from Algorithmic's forum. So just go to the forum, the Algorithmic forum, and if you're a Max user, I'm not sure if it's available for Maya or Cinema 4D. It may be. I think it might be. But for Max, certainly just go to the 3D Studio Max forum, and you can download it from there. It's really handy. It saves those steps of having to save the file out, load up Substance Painter, import the file, export your textures, that sort of thing. It saves a little bit of time. Score, that's right. So yep, download it from Algorithmic's forum, their official forum, the community forum. Let's start by baking out our textures. We're going to use the low poly as the high poly. This is just so when we use curvature maps and stuff, it has information for the curvature, smart masks and all that sort of thing. Okay, let's change the name of the texture. We're going to be calling it Fountain Base. Now we have this is a new asset. We don't have a smart material already created for it, so let's play with our materials and see what we can come up with. We're going to need a sort of stony, cementy type texture to begin with. We're going to throw a couple of layers down, so no, we don't really want asphalt. Let's see what this rock looks like. I'm going to turn off the normal map, the height map. Okay, now I am seeing a little bit of seaming going on. This is where our texture seams are. Once we overpaint it, it probably would be okay. Well, what we can do it this way. We can make our smart material of a few different textures and smart masks. We can save that as our smart material. Then if it still is showing up with those seams, we can either overpaint the seams inside of Substance Painter, or we can re-UV map it outside, and just then all we have to do is reapply our smart material again. So at this stage, I'm going to try and set up the smart material. Then we'll look at our seams and maybe re-UV mapping it. Sniper Wrecker says, by the way, did you guys know that you can in fact save transparency in... No, I didn't know that. How can you save... Are you sure? I've never heard of being able to save transparency in a JPEG. Because it doesn't store alpha information as far as I'm aware. No, I did not know that. If that is true, then that's pretty awesome, actually. JPEGs, even though they're the worst of all of the file formats, because you lose a lot of information in a JPEG, they're really useful for small file sizes. So they're really useful for stuff online, web sort of stuff, and all that sort of thing. I did not know that. That is very cool if that's true. Cookie says it's just on their main download site now. Yes, it is. It is. I will show you. Pull my browser over. Anyone watching me who doesn't know who I am, you can go to phildoes3d.com and you can read up about me there. But we want to go to algorithmic. No, it's actually called Substance by Adobe now. Isn't that awful? Terrible, terrible, terrible. So you just want to go to the community, you want to go to the forum. You want to come down here to Autodesk 3D Studio Max, and that's what you want there, Substance plugin here. I'm using it in Max 2020 as you see, so just because it says 2018 and 2019. Sorry, no, this is the one you want here. My apologies. You want Substance to paint a bridge. That one. If you're a Max user, of course. So I'll just pop a link in chat here for you guys so you can directly go to the forum page. Again, that's for Max, and you want 3D Studio Max to Substance Paint a Bridge. That's what I'm using. It's free to download. Sniper says, I haven't done it, Phil, but I saw a guy in an office here do it. I'm not exactly sure how yet. Neither am I. I have never seen an alpha in a JPEG. I thought that JPEG stripped alpha information out as soon as it was saved. So even if you try and put an alpha in a JPEG in Photoshop, say, as soon as you save it out, I'm pretty sure the alpha is gone. That's why you don't generally have transparency in JPEG. I'd love to know how he did it. It's a new one on me. Sniper Girl says, you're Phil and you do 3D? No way. Who would have guessed my website would be called phildoes3d.com? Sniper Wrecker says, but I will have the answer for next week. Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to hearing about this. I want to know. People want to know. Because I've never heard of being able to put a transparency in a JPEG. Cookie says, yeah, just saying it's on the main download page now, you don't have to dig. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that myself. Well, there you go. I've been schooled. Cookie says they have them for Maya, Houdini, Moto, and Max. So you said it's on the main download. Is it the same version? I'm wondering if they updated the version. I'm just curious. Because the one that I use here works well, but if there's a new version, I'd like to use a new version. So when you say the main page, do you mean their home page? Oh, that's a plugin which I have for Macs. I downloaded the new plugin. They've updated their website, I see. They've changed the layout a little bit. This must be an Adobe edition. Double substance buy download. Okay. Whoops. Yes. Now that Adobe owns Substance Painter and all that sort of stuff. Which is terrible. Terrible, terrible. Adobe buying up everything. They're as bad as Autodesk buying up everything. That's the launcher, the painter, the designer, bitmap to material, player. That's the plugin that I've already downloaded. That's for Max 2020. Oh yeah, no, don't. These are not what I'm talking about, Cookie. This integration plugin, these integration plugins, that's different to what I'm using here. These are so that you can convert Substance materials to like V-Ray or Redshift or Corona render. Now, that's not the plugin that I'm using. The plugin I'm using is the one I just showed you there in the forum. That plugin that you see there is you get that. So that's not this plugin. That is the Substance plugin that you get through your materials here. So here, that's this Substance 2 plugin. That's what that is. So yeah, I just want to be clear that this plugin I'm using here to send it back and forth, that's the other one that's in the forum. It can get confusing because there's so many different plugins for different things. Smokeberry says probably JPEG 2000. Yeah, I haven't looked at JPEG 2000. You might be right, Smokeberry. The Sniper says not sure. Cookie says, Galen says, hey, I have that lounge. Yeah, so yeah, it's confusing because there's all these different things in different places on Adobe Substance's website. But yeah, that plugin on the main page, that's if you want to convert Substance materials or load Substance materials in directly and have them render in V-Ray or Corona or Redshift or whatever. The other plugin is the one you download from the forum, which is the one I'm using to send the object between my 3D program and Substance Painter automatically. Okay, let's keep throwing down a couple of layers. Oh, we're getting pushed for time. Let's see. Might go another 10 minutes or so because I couldn't stream for you guys yesterday. This is an interesting rock tech. Just because it's called rock and because it's not a rock doesn't mean we can't look at it and use it possibly. So yeah, just because it's not made for the object we're considering putting it on does not mean we can't use it, particularly if we start throwing down some smart masks. And you'll see that this rock texture, the seaming is not quite as obvious. So that's what I mean by if we throw down a couple of layers, we may be able to hide the seams. Tap Crush, good to see you as well, Tap Crush. How are you? Have you been well? You've been good? I've been away for a few weeks, so I hope you're well. But it's good to see you, Tap Crush. Sniper says 10 more minutes, so we have changed. Well, I just because I couldn't stream yesterday, I had to go into the meeting, I couldn't stream, so we'll go a little bit longer today, just another 10 minutes or so. I get tired, guys. Streaming is hard work. Alright, let's see if we can throw down a couple more and we can start mixing and matching. Because I really don't know what look I want to go for this piece, but I'm sure we can come up with something interesting. There's got to be something. Actually, first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to increase the scale a little bit, I think. And I'm also going to increase the scale a little bit on the underlying texture as well. Good. What can we throw over the top of it? I want to see if I can use this forest ground cover, if I can remove some of the leaves and things that are in it. I'm just not sure what options it gives me, I can't remember. Not many. Well, that's disappointing. Okay, let's just remove that. You're doing great, Tap Crush. Good to hear you. I was away in Tahoe for a while myself. Oh, cool. Tap Crush says you're feeling. I am feeling refreshed. I love to get I come back from my mountain trip, and I'm nice and refreshed and relaxed, and it's good. Re-energized is a good word. I'm re-energized after being away in the middle of nowhere for a couple of weeks. Yeah, no, I am. I know the feeling. I'm feeling nice and refreshed and relaxed. And Sniper says, Phil, with regard to audio implementation, are you using the standard audio toolset in UE4? Yes, I am. I am using the standard audio tool set. Is there a reason you ask? Again, Sniper says, in the game, I mean, yes. Yes, I'm just using the standard audio tool set, yeah. Again, I haven't placed any sound in the level yet, so I haven't looked into it in very much detail. But at this stage, I'm planning on just using the standard audio tool set. Is there a reason I shouldn't or should, or you have a suggestion for something? But that was my plan, just to use the standard one, because I'm pretty sure it has been updated, hasn't it? Sniper says, interesting. You may find it limited with regard to what you can do. Oh, okay. Again, I haven't looked into the sound side of things a lot. When I say I worked on the sound for the menu, it was just integrating the menu system to the settings for your sound on your PC that you're using, so you could choose your headphones, which audio card you have in your computer. That's what I was talking about with the menu and the sound. There is no sound in the level yet, so I haven't looked into that side of things. I hope I don't get a nasty surprise when I start looking into that. I thought that they had a pretty good sound system in UE4, because I know in UDK the sound system wasn't too bad. Sniper says it depends on what you're going for. Me and my audio designer have been crunching through the options in the past few weeks. You got me worried now. I mean, I guess it does depend on how creative you want to get with the use of sound in the game. And at this stage, though, I'm not really planning on needing anything too exotic. General sound effects because it's still in UDK when I was working with sound in that engine. It's still the case you can tie a sound object. You can tie a sound to an object, can't you? So say you have like, let's use an example. I don't know. You've got a swing hanging from a tree. You want that creaking sound. You can actually attach the sound to the swing. So the closer you get to the swing, the louder the sound gets. That's the way it used to work in UDK. I'm assuming it still works that way in UE4. So basic sound stuff like that should be all I need. I don't think I need anything too exotic. I shouldn't anyway. But you never know until you start getting in there and working on it. Sniper says, yeah, it depends on what you're doing. Yeah, I guess so. I'll find out soon enough. Although the sound layer will probably be toward the end of the design stuff anyway. So all of the design stuff first, all of the puzzles and stuff, and then as the puzzles are being integrated, then start integrating the sound. That's sort of the plan of action I've got going on at the moment. Sniper says, but yeah, that's the case in there for sure. Sniper says, if you're doing custom reverb, it can get tough. I shouldn't need to do custom reverb. Yeah, no, I don't think I'll need to do anything like that. Again, I don't know for sure until I actually start really working full steam on the level. But I'm not envisioning needing to do any sort of custom reverb stuff. We'll see. I want to find another layer for this. There's got to be something here that's interesting. We're going to throw a dirt layer on the top of everything, but I just want something else that's a bit more interesting. I was hoping this would give me like a mossy look. You know how you get that white moss that grows on stuff? I was hoping that's what this was, but I don't. We may be able to use it that way, you know. Well, maybe not. The white bits are a bit too even. Probably not a good idea. Lichen, that's it. Thank you very much, guys. Lichen is the word I was looking for. Sniper says, yeah, don't worry about it. Shoot me a direct message whenever if you have a question. I might be able to provide some info. Thank you, Sniper. I will do that when we jump into working on the game. But again, the sound side of things for the game will be toward the end. So not for a little while yet. Because again, I've got to really wait on the composer, the guy in France that's doing the music and stuff. I've got to wait for that anyway, so I'll put that in toward the end. Oh, come on. I know that there is a lichen here, which I've used before, but I don't like the look of it. It's this one here. I've used this one, and while it's not a bad material, it's just not really what I'm after. I'm just going to save this because I just don't trust things not to crash. I'm just going to see what this Iceland meadow looks like. It's a pretty heavy shade of this one from memory, which is why I saved it before I put it on, just in case. Cookie says, is there a way to send a high poly and a low poly with the bridge thingy? No, not that I'm aware of. I don't think there is a way to send both with the bridge. So what you just do is just save out the low or the high and send over the low or the high and then import it when you do your bake out. So it sort of still saves one step or two for you. Just check the scaling here. This is actually putting snow on, so because this is actually not meant to be used as lichen or moss. It's completely different. It's meant to be used completely differently, but like I said, there's no reason we can't use it for something if we want. You motor shoot off, Sniper Echo. Well, thank you for being here. I'll be back on Monday next week. So hopefully I'll see you on Monday next week, Sniper Echo. You have a good night. Yeah, you're still going to do that the hard way. I'm sorry, Cookie. It's time for you to split too? Yeah, no. Thank you. I think we may leave it there for today. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this project. We'll pick this up on Monday next week when I'm back. I do want to thank you guys and girls so very much for hanging out with me and for watching. I will be back on Monday next week. We'll pick up where we left off here, texturing up this Temple of the Winds. I hope you guys and girls have a great weekend. Stay safe. And hopefully I'll see you all on Monday next week. Tap Crush, Sniper Girl, Galen, everybody. Hopefully I'll see you guys Monday. You have a great weekend. Thanks again for watching, and see you next week, guys. See ya.